Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about one of the most common things that I see, eczema or dry skin or itchy dry skin. Stay tuned to find out what actually works for eczema. Is there some natural supplements? What's the evidence? Thank you for watching. So what is eczema or dry skin? Really, it's actually a disruption of the epidermal barrier, which is just a fancy way of saying the skin cells that are supposed to be nice and perfectly tight together are actually like, well, they're like not tight together. And what ends up happening is you get all this junk and allergens and microbes that go inside of that skin and then cause inflammation. So I want to start off by talking about how can you prevent this from happening. Unfortunately, majority of this is genetic. But if you're a mom or someone about to have a child, there is some evidence that having what we say in the baby probiotics before they even get eczema, it might actually prevent them from having that dry skin. So that's something to start off with. Now let's say you're a child or you're an adult, you already have eczema. Now what? The first thing I always tell patients is, one, let's do the environmental control things that we can do. People used to think that by bathing a lot, you dry out your skin, and then that leads to drier skin, and then you take away your natural oils, and then you have more eczema or dry skin. That's actually not true. We need water in our skin, and the key is to lock in that moisture. So I tell patients, take a bath twice a day for the babies. I think it would be really hard for me to bath twice a day. Comment below if you do. Anyways, basically you bathe or shower as once a day or twice a day. The moment you come out of the bath, you want to be patting dry and then immediately putting some type of moisturizer there that is non-irritating with no perfumes. So Vaseline's a great one, and another great one is something called CeraVe or Eucerin. I'll link them below. That actually locks in the moisture. So if you're somebody who knows that they get dry skin regularly or they get eczema flare-ups, if your skin is actually good right now, this is something you can do daily to prevent needing medications moving forward to treat your skin. The other thing is the type of clothing you wear. Cotton is actually much more breathable and it prevents your skin from getting irritated. Things like wool, those types, or polyester, those tight fabrics, they tend to irritate the skin more and then leads to more inflammation. So as much as you can, if you're at home, try to wear something light and cotton. 100% cotton is ideal, and let your skin breathe. The other thing is there are some things in the environment that can make your skin worse. So if you're allergic to something like a cat or a dog, or if you have a lot of dust in your house, that is something that has been shown potentially to exacerbate eczema. So now that we've talked a bit about the environmental things, the next thing I want to talk about is what are some natural ways to potentially modify your body so that you don't get such bad eczema. There's been some reviews that recently have come out in the last couple of years that look at using vitamin D and E, and they've actually shown to have a significant improvement with patients who have eczema 2 months later if they're supplementing this daily. So if you're somebody who has eczema or super dry skin or disruption of your barrier, please consider trying to be on vitamin D and E and see if it helps your skin get better, because I think that there is a lot of evidence and it is supported in the literature. After doing those kinds of things, the next thing is medications. So lots of patients come to me who have been on topical, what we say steroids. So topical just means being rubbed on at the site, and then steroids is just steroids. It's basically the medicated part of the medication. That was a mouthful. Anyway, they're very wary of using it because there's some research that shows, there might be some thinning of the skin, or maybe having pimples that are created there. Some people even say that their skin color changes in the areas that they apply the topical steroid. In terms of the color changes, it's actually the inflammation themselves of the skin that causes that. So what happens is, if you think about, for me, I have a darker skin tone. If I scratch myself and I get a cut, when that cut heals, I end up getting a darker scar. It's the same concept. Even if I don't put any steroid on it, I get that scar. Same thing with eczema. So if you have irritation, let's say right here, and you're constantly itching, even at night when you don't realize you're itching, you're creating inflammation, and that darkness of the skin ends up causing a change in your pigment. In some people, instead of getting darker, they actually get lighter in that area. So it can go either way. It's not actually the steroid itself. So I always tell patients, if we're at a point where we're going to be using steroids, then you need it. And basically you should be applying it regularly till your skin becomes smooth again so that you can prevent having constant inflammation. The last thing that people use are other types of medications. So commonly things we say are called calcineurin inhibitors, or another newer one that's coming out is a PDE4 inhibitor. These are more kind of maintenance medications that people use on their skin after the steroid has helped. So it's really important to keep your maintenance medications on board in order for us to make sure that your skin keeps looking healthy. The last thing I want to talk about is kind of debunking some myths. A lot of people feel or come to me and say, this food for sure is causing my eczema. What you need to understand is eczema is a disease that's up and down, up and down. And unfortunately, what happens is we do really want to try and say, oh yeah, when I eat strawberries, my eczema gets worse. But what ends up happening is when you put in your mind it's this specific food that's causing my eczema to get worse, then every time you eat it, you're like, oh, my eczema is getting worse. But it could be actually because you're stressed, or you're going to be getting a cold, like a virus can make eczema worse. And so it's hard to really discern, oh, it's this food or that food. A lot of patients come to me and say when they've cut out things like dairy or wheat, they feel like their eczema is better. There's not evidence to support that in the literature. There are case reports here and there of patients saying it may or may not help. Ultimately, I tell patients there's not supporting literature. If it makes you feel better, as long as you're ensuring you have other sources of calcium in terms of dairy or protein, if you're cutting things out like yogurt or with bread, it's not a necessary thing to eat. And if it makes you happy and it makes you feel better, I'm very supportive of that. And I think that I just want to say that there's no evidence about it, but at the end, this is your health and your body. And if it makes you feel better, I think you should do it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'm happy to answer them. If anybody else wants me to talk about other skin issues or allergic reactions, I'm happy to. Have a wonderful day. Bye.